Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
You know what I love? I so appreciate such the great callers who want so much to make a point. He's making a very, very good point. But I always don't ever confuse my insistence upon pertinence as any kind of rudeness. Believe me, that's never my intention. Don't you love things that just make you say, huh? Do you ever have these stories? I call these like bar stories. Like at a, you know how they say there's this thing called, I'm sure you've heard about it, these elevator pitches. You know, you got to tell somebody a pitch for something like 5 minutes, 5 seconds, or whatever it is. I like these little stories like, did you ever hear about the guy who, Phineas, whatever, who got the steel bar through his head and what? Did you ever hear about this? I'm going to give you some facts, which I love this. Did you ever hear of Tsutomu Yamaguchi? This is the guy. I love this. What have you been looking at me like that for? Like I'm making it up. Blaze is giving me like that. Well, if you say so. If that's what you say his name is, how could I make up Tsutomu Yamaguchi? Listen to this guy. Survived the atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Went to Nagasaki and survived that bombing 3 days later. Now, that's not funny. 2, he lived to 93. 2, now figure out the odds of that. If ever you want to figure out the odds, because I'm an odds maker by design. I think life is about making odds and figuring out the probability of something. If I said here, pick 5 or 6 cards. Here, pick 6 cards. 6. Do you know what the odds of getting those 6 cards were? And how about getting those 6 cards in that order? Oh, my God. It would be 6 cards with or without replacement. You know how you would do the math for that? There's 52 cards, right? So your chance of getting the first card, see, I have a 6, is 1 out of 52. So it'd be 52 times 51, because the second card, you have a 1 out of 51 chance to get that one, because 1's already missing, times 50, times 49, times 48, times 46. Multiply that together. Those are your odds. If you don't have to get them in that particular order, then it's 6 factorial. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6. Those are the odds. It's like astronomical. Now, if I gave you 6 cards and I said, here, pick these, they mean nothing to you. Yeah, but the odds of you getting those is 1 out of billion. Or yeah, but they don't mean anything. Yes, but the odds of that, the odds of us meeting Yuri is like infinitesimally rare. But whether it means something to us or doesn't mean something, what I'm saying, odds are not what you think. I don't know about you, but I always play the Power, Mega, and the, Lotto. One ticket. One. Was it $2, $5, whatever it is? 1. That's it. That's my gambling. That's it. Now, if somebody says, don't you think you should buy more than 1 ticket? Does that improve the odds? Yeah. It'd be like this. Imagine if we're stretched across from New York all the way to Los Angeles, right across the United States. People next to each other. Whatever that number is, those are the odds. Imagine I'm at the end and I buy 2 tickets, so I take one step closer. I move one step closer. Those are my odds. Odds are this thing. You know when they say 30% chance of rain? What do they mean by that? 30% chance of rain. Do they mean 30%? I go, there's a 1 out of 3 chance that it's going to rain? No. 30% of the area is going to be covered by rain. So it's misleading. Whenever they say these things, they say the odds are incredible. How about this? In 2014, a woman in Zimbabwe reportedly woke up inside her coffin during her funeral after being declared dead. She survived. Now, I would say also that is before any type of embalming. Embalming puts a real damper on any kind of further living. This is in 2014. Now, remember the term, the wake? They say this now, and I don't know who they are. The idea of the wake was that there were times when medical science was such that they really weren't sure whether you really were dead. I mean, sometimes they would take vitals and somebody woke up. So they had the wake at your home normally to see if you woke up. You've heard this about they always were afraid that they might bury somebody. I remember there was no really embalming per se, the Egyptians notwithstanding. Remember how they wanted to have a string outside of the casket up with a bell in case you were alive, you could ring the bell, hence the term dead ringer. I don't know if any of this is true, but I remember the lore. How about this? Roy Sullivan, a U.S. park ranger, was officially struck by lightning seven separate times and lived through all of them. 7. Imagine the first time it's like, damn. Second time, wow. Third time, that's enough. Fourth time, I'm getting tired of this. Fifth time, come on, God, come on. Sixth time, 7. I just think about this. I knew a guy, by the way, in Florida, because you can always tell the native Floridians, you can always tell the crackers, the natives, because whenever it starts to lightning, they run inside. I still do. I hear that crack, that's it. I'm inside. I don't mean the good crack like that Irish. I mean the crack of lightning, the crack of thunder, I should say. You just scared the hell out of me. I thought, I'm going through some kind of electrical malfunction. A little heads up next time. I think I just soiled myself. I hope we have some newspaper or something I can use to sop up my fear. That sound, I knew a fellow, listen to this. He was on Pinellas County Beach, St. Pete, Clearwater, somewhere. It was a little overcast, but nothing serious. He got hit. His gold chain blew off. He had a chain just blew off. I don't know why the clasp would become undone. I don't know why. His shorts, his swim trunks blew off. I don't know I wasn't there. And what's interesting, at his heel, the heel of his foot, it's like somebody took charcoal and rubbed his heel with charcoal, and it just coursed through him and just basically exited through his heel. He couldn't blink for I don't know what period, and had this shocked look. He had to put drops in his eyes. He couldn't blink. So he was a defense lawyer at the time, became a judge ultimately. But when he was a defense lawyer, you would go back in the chambers, talk with the prosecutor, and they'll work things out. When you came out, your client would look at you like you gave him a thumbs up, like, hey, it looks great. He came out with his eyes bugged out. His clients would say, what? He goes, no, it's okay. I was hit by lightning. Is that an expression? No, I was literally, dude, hit by lightning. Vesna Vulovic, remember that name? Vesna Vulovic survived the 1972 airline bombing and fell over 33,000 feet without a parachute. She holds the world record for the highest fall survived without one. Now, I don't know what she landed on. 33,000 feet. Hiru Onoda. This is my hero. Hiru Onoda. You should know this. This is a fellow who didn't know or didn't care or didn't believe that World War II was over, that the war had ended. He continued fighting in the Philippines until 1974 because he refused to believe World War II was over. Here's my question. Who is he fighting? Can you imagine the Philippines said, you're not going to believe this. Hello? Yes. Police department? Yeah. Listen, I know this sounds crazy. I know you think I'm nuts. I swear to God, there's a Japanese guy who's walking around. He thinks the war's still on. I know. I'm not drinking. You know, we've had a lot of calls. Has he been bothering people? I know. He goes up, he yells bonsai, and I don't know what the hell's the matter with this guy. Can you send somebody over? And they said, Hiru, it's over. No, it's not. This is true, he says. No, it's over. I don't believe you. They had to send somebody from the Japanese official, whatever it was, to the Philippines, where he stands there with his dirty uniform. He salutes and he says, you're relieved of your duty. Okay, now I can go home.
Like he was just in a foxhole the whole time.
I don't know.
He'd pop up every once in a while, look around, and go back in. How do you not know? 30 years?
But also, here's this radio. Yes. Foxtrot, 1, 2. I need air support. Is anybody out here? Now, 29 years. Let me say that again. I don't think you heard me. 29 years. And how is he fighting? Does he hide? Does he come out during the day? Does he go undercover? I love that. That's tenacity. A construction worker accidentally shot a nail into his head with a nail gun. Doctors later found it had been lodged in the brain for years without him realizing it. Right, there's always probably some cursory x-ray. Mr. Blaze, yes. Could you come here for a minute? Yeah. I want to show you an x-ray. Notice anything about that? Of course, this thing is glowing in the dark. After stealing a Roman artifact from Pompeii, a tourist mailed it back claiming it brought years of bad luck. I don't know why that cracks me up. In 2023, an Ecuadorian woman declared dead knocked on her coffin during her wake. She briefly revived before later dying days afterward. A gorilla named Binti Jua famously rescued a child who fell into her enclosure in 1996, carrying him to safety. Remember that one? I remember that the kid fell in, and the gorilla went over, and the parents said, "Oh my God!" He thought he was going to rip this thing apart. He goes, "No." By the way, stay away from chimps, bonobos, and chimps. By the way, do you know what they do when Yuri would know this? Notice it sparked his attention. And don't let anybody tell you what Carter said about your how dare he question your screening skills. How dare he? They're impeccable. Well, anyway, there was what they do to you, when the chimps attack you, they grab your face and they pull it off. I don't know how they get their finger. They don't really have nails, but they figure a way. They grab your mouth and they just pull it. And, you ready for this? They will bite your fingers off. But here's the best part, Blaze, and you too, Yuri. In order for them, they realize this, to prevent you, they will normally kill your offspring, but in order to prevent you, and I'm not making this up, to prevent you or other apes from passing on their line, they will rip your testicles off. So you got a no face. They bite your fingers off, and the boys go. See ya. Done. And this isn't funny. Imagine being the first responder for that one. You might say, yeah. Listen, you're not gonna believe it. Yeah, there's a chimp attack. Remember the woman in Connecticut? Remember the scream? Did you ever hear that one? The scream alone. Because remember, they look like, oh, they're so nice. And they're, no. Remember they had this chimp or this ape or whatever it was with the hat on, and I think they were basically mocking it for years, humiliating it. So one day they said, "That's enough," and he took care of her. Then she had the face transplant, and the rest is history.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.